evening, afternoon, good morning, wherever you are tuning in from. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Erica Rand Silverman, and I am a literary agent at Samola Literary Studio. And today we are having an event with the wonderful Juliana Perdomo. We will be talking about recognizing your own self-reliance skills. Sometimes all you need is you. And so we will be reading Julie's book, and she'll be taking us through a wonderful activity. And I won't waste too much time before we get started, but I will say if you are new to Samoa Live and you wish to subscribe to the Samoa Live YouTube channel, there is a button right down on one of these sides that you can press, and you will never miss an event that we have. You can also go to the Samoa Live website, and there at the website there is a link to a newsletter that you can register for, and you can find out about the events that way too. So today is extra special because we not only have adults joining us, but we have children, and that's our favorite kind of guests. So any children who are here watching, we hope that you will introduce yourself to us in the chat. Just give us your name, and we can't wait to talk more with you as the event goes on. So without further ado, I will bring in Juliana Perdomo, and I will tell you a bit that Juliana is a Colombian author-illustrator with a degree in psychology, art therapy, and holistic education. Julie has illustrated many books for children, and the one that we'll be reading today is Sometimes All I Need Is Me, which was published by Candlewick Press just this April. And it received a starred review. Congratulations, Julie. And that means that it's an extra special book. And so, before I embarrass her more, I will bring in Julie. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us, Julie.
Thank you for making this possible.
So I am talking to you from New York City, and you are talking to me from Colombia, and I brought my globe here to show children, right? So I know that we have people zooming in from all over the world sometimes, but I am here in North America in New York City, and Julie is south, all the way down in South America, right here in Colombia.
In Colombia, in Bogota.
So what's the weather like there?
Well, we always have some kind of the same weather because where we are very near the equator line, the weather stays the same depending on the altitude of the mountains. And since we're very high up in the mountains of Bogota, the weather is kind of springy, sometimes rainy. We have a lot of rainbows, and that is wonderful. So, yeah, I love our weather.
I'm not surprised that there are many rainbows over your head.
Yes, it's great.
So we've come together today specifically because we wanted to celebrate mental health awareness. And here in the States, May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month. So is there a Mental Health Awareness Month where you are too?
Well, we don't have a month, a total month, but we do have a day, and it's October 10th in Colombia. It's not there yet, but we do honor mental health in our way. Yeah.
So I thought we could just start before we read by talking about what mental health means, especially for the children who might be listening. I don't know if they've heard the term mental health before. They probably think about their physical health, right? They eat lots of healthy foods. They try to exercise. They try to get their steps in. Or their skin health, right? They wear sunscreen to protect it. What does it mean for them to have mental health?
Well, like you said, I think we are used to thinking of our health as our physical health, and if our body feels good or if it hurts. But mental health has more to do with what goes on in our minds. So it's our thoughts and feelings and emotions and moods, and all of that creates our actions and how we relate to others and how we live our lives. So it's very important to have a very healthy mind and a good mental health. And I think we need to start treating health as a whole. Both body and mind need to be healthy in order for us to feel good. And sometimes there are big emotions and small emotions, and sometimes they come and go. But the ones that are very big and that last longer can make us feel unwell. And in those moments, we need to find ways to make our minds healthy again. So we can look for help in others or help within ourselves, like the book we're going to read.
Before we do, I do just want to take a quick moment to acknowledge that regardless of where you are in the world, this could be a very emotional time for you. And I thought maybe we could just take a quick second of silence to think about that and to center ourselves and reground ourselves in the moment and with the people that we're with. Okay. So,
So,
should we read a book?
yes,
Should we read together?
we should.
Okay.
I have a wonderful person behind me. I haven't introduced him. I'm so sorry. He's Ivan and he's going to help me out today. He's going to read the Spanish version of the book. Here it is. This is the English one. Sometimes all I need is me. And in Spanish is a veces yo soy todo lo que necesito. And it's very important for me to have it both in both languages because this is my no, this one, sorry. This is my mother language and it's great to have these words in Spanish too. So he's going to help us out translating the reading.
Okay, now don't get frightened. I'm going to make you big on the screen,
Oh, it's okay.
which I know can be very overwhelming, but that way everybody can see better. And then I will
You can
come
see the
back.
drawings. It's okay.
I'm making you big, Julie. It's happening.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is my book. Sometimes All I Need Is Me by Juliana Perdomo, just me. And I want to share this with you. It is a very important book because it is my first one as an author. Sometimes all I need is me.
A veces yo soy todo lo que necesito.
Okay. I live in a cozy place with my mom and Roomba, our dog.
Yo vivo en un lugar acogedor con mi mamá y Rumba, nuestra perrita.
I can't read it well. Okay. It smells like cinnamon tea and feels like warm pajamas.
Nuestro hogar huele a té de canela y se siente como un pijama calientito.
But when I'm away and everything is different, I become my own home where I feel calm.
Pero cuando estoy de paseo y todo es diferente, me convierto en mi propio hogar, donde me siento más tranquila.
I enjoy playing in the garden with Mateo, especially when the rain stops. Puddles make him happy, and his laughter is the best sound in the world.
Me encanta jugar en el jardín con Mateo, especialmente cuando cesa la lluvia. Los charcos lo hacen feliz y su risa es el mejor sonido del mundo.
But when I'm alone, I can be my own company and make my own magic.
Pero cuando estoy sola, yo puedo ser mi propia compañía y crear mi propia magia.
I love listening to music, especially samba. It feels like my heart follows the beat.
Me encanta escuchar música, especialmente samba. Siento que mi corazón sigue el ritmo.
But when it's quiet, I become my own song and let myself dance.
Pero cuando hay silencio, me convierto en mi propia canción y me dejo bailar.
At night, when it's too dark and my feet get cold, my room can be a scary place.
Por la noche, cuando está demasiado oscuro y mis pies se enfrían, mi habitación a veces me da miedo.
So I create my own light when I close my eyes and think of the sun.
Así que creo mi propia luz cuando cierro los ojos y pienso en el sol.
Sometimes when I wear my rainbow roller skates, I fall down. Luckily, I find kind people to help me out.
A veces, cuando uso mis patines de arcoíris, me caigo. Afortunadamente, encuentro personas amables que me ayudan.
But other times, I can be my own support and stand up by myself.
Pero otras veces, yo puedo ser mi propio apoyo y levantarme sola.
When I feel sad, a hug from grandma makes everything better. It feels like a warm, knitted sweater.
Cuando me siento triste, un abrazo de mi abuela mejora todo. Se siente como un abrigo tejido y cálido.
But when my grandma is not here, I can give myself a hug and know everything is all right.
Pero cuando mi abuela no está aquí, yo misma me puedo abrazar y así sé que todo va a estar bien.
I can love myself and become whatever I need. Sometimes all I really need is me.
Puedo amarme y convertirme en lo que yo necesito. En realidad, a veces, yo soy todo lo que necesito.
And that's it. Or sometimes all I need is me.
It is so beautiful hearing it with the English and the Spanish back to back like that. It's so special. It's like we could put Ivan in our pocket. We'd each be able to pull him out.
And he works with his voice. He also does. So we have a professional here.
Oh.
Yeah, we could tell. It was beautiful. Julie, there's so many rainbows in the book. Do you think that's because there are so many rainbows overhead?
Well, I think so. I've been obsessed with rainbows since I was a kid. I mean, it's not only because I was born in the 80s that everything had rainbows, but yeah, where we live, there's lots of rainbows, and I love the symbol of diversity and everything that has to do with rainbows.
So I'm so curious if you could tell us a bit about where the book came from for you. What was your inspiration, or how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, well, it actually came from a diary that I had. Um, Sometimes I write stuff down in journals, and I was going through a period where I had to be on my own for a long time, and I was remembering how it felt when I was a kid to feel lonely, especially with my cousin, that he would come from another city to visit me, and then he would move back and go away, and I had this feeling of emptiness when he left. And I started using my imagination because that's a very powerful tool. And I created stories and I invented characters and even imaginary friends. Um, and I think that has always helped me. Also, drawing and dancing and singing. It's. I have come to really enjoying the time on my own, and I think that is something very special that we should all have.
I feel like when I was young, I did not appreciate being alone. You know,
Yeah,
if I was by myself as a child, even into a young adult, I thought I was missing something. You know, I thought everybody must be together and I wasn't there. What do they say now? FOMO. A serious case of the fear of missing out.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I
I'm
think
just, yeah, how do you, like, for children, I think some children like it, right? They immediately, naturally enjoy their alone time. But
yeah,
I was not that child.
yeah. I think it has to do a lot with um, your own personality and interests and fears, of course. But I do think it's very important to nourish that time on our own because it gets, I mean, you get to know yourself better and know that no matter what, you're going to be all right. You have this power within yourself to be all right. And
I,
it's internal. You don't need anyone to depend on in that sense to feel
I,
better.
I've asked in the chat for any grown-ups or any children who are listening how they like to spend their alone time. So we'll see if any answers come in, and when they do, I'll share back because I'm I'm curious. You know, sometimes now my own children are big enough where I can leave them home alone. Not all night, but for some stretches of time. And it's interesting to see what works for them to do when they're, or even if I'm home but can't pay attention to them. You know, what
Yeah.
is it that works for them to entertain themselves and just to feel comfortable in their own space? And some of the things that I see is reading, which is what eventually worked for me. I'm never alone if I have a book.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's video games. But I'm curious what else there is. So, anybody who's listening, let us know how you like to spend your alone time.
Oh, yes. I would love to see those answers.
And maybe, Julie, while we wait for those to come in, you can start to tell us a bit about what we might be doing together today.
Yes. So, having the book in mind, we're going to do a little breathing exercise and visualization, and we're going to do a drawing exercise as well. We ask you to have a piece of paper or something to draw on, and maybe colored pencils or markers, whatever feels good for you. And maybe we can start getting that ready
Yeah. So
while we
everybody,
wait.
go get. People are excited for the music. Go,
Yes.
Melanie Cordova, who is a wonderful editor from Candlewick, who helped bring this book to life.
Yes.
And when Melanie got this book, remember, Julie, we thought it was a board book.
We thought it was important.
So
Yeah.
board books, for those of you who might not know, are actually have one here. They are smaller books, and they're for an even younger audience. This is an example of one. They have a lot less pages, and they're really thick, so that little hands can't rip them or break them. And this is what we thought the book would be.
Yeah.
And Melanie saw that the book, not that board books need to be more. But Melanie saw that the book could be so much more, right?
Yeah, no, she's wonderful. I'm so lucky to work with her.
And just to answer a question that's coming in, Julie is the illustrator and the author, and maybe at the end we can circle back around to talk more about her process.
Yeah.
But some of the things that play music. I think Melanie's telling us that she likes to play music when she's alone. I thought she was demanding that the music start to play. It was perfectly timed when you picked up the guitar. So Melanie likes to play music, and Silvana likes to draw and listen to her vinyl records. And Trudy listening or playing music also, and reading and gardening. Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
And isn't it true that when we put our hands in the earth, that there is like proof that it makes us feel better?
Yeah, it does. Being in nature is instant wellness. That is true.
Tito or Tato likes to make dinosaur movies in his bedroom. I would love to see those.
I love him. He's my nephew.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you could share them, Laura, and tag sometimes all I need is me as the hashtag, then we can all see his dinosaur movies, and it would bring us a lot of much needed joy.
He has been a dinosaur since he was 2 years old. I mean, he was born a dinosaur.
Well, in the same way that you look back to your own journals when you were young,
yeah.
I mean, you never know what's going to come of these dinosaurs.
That is true.
Allison, she loves to hike and walk in the woods. And Allison is my wonderful colleague at the studio. She's always here at the events. Thank you. Thank you so much, Allie. And I have walked with Allie in the woods, and it's wonderful. Oh, and she likes to be with her dog, Millie.
Also, animals have wonderful energy to make us feel better.
That's right. My oldest son came home one day after we got a puppy, Snickers, and she said she could be our stress dog. And I was like, wait, does that mean that she stresses us out? He goes, no, she de-stresses us. It's a great idea.
That's true. So
and
sweet.
Elaine has kept journals. She needs a certain amount of alone time. When she doesn't have it, she feels it. And she loves to daydream, which takes many forms.
I think she's like me in that way. I daydream a lot.
I think making the time to daydream, right, is really important. Making the time to do any of these things, not even that's our stress dog.
Telling us, just telling us her opinions.
Okay, so hopefully by now everybody has their materials. I'm going to mute myself. And Julie, I'm going to let you begin.
Okay. So we have live music today with Ivan, and he's going to help me go through this activity. So first, let's just shake our bodies a little bit, like move ourselves a little bit. And we're going to sit up straight, and we're going to try to relax and take a deep breath in and out. And we're going to feel our bodies. You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can keep them open, however it feels more comfortable. And we're gonna start feeling this body as a home, and how it moves so softly. When we bring in air and out, it's a beautiful container of wonderful things that go inside us. Now we're gonna imagine inside a wonderful, beautiful energy that is almost sparkling. It could be a universe full of stars or a huge beam of light vibrating, and it feels so good and warm and joyful. And we realize we have that energy inside us whenever we need it. It's our own power, it's our electricity. And now, keeping this in mind, we can think of this energy with the ability of transforming to other shapes and things that we need. And keeping in mind what we talked before of the things we love to do when we're on our own, we're going to transform this energy in those things. So for instance, for me, I love going out for a walk and feeling the air in the wind in my face. So I'm going to try to visualize that. I'm going to change it in a symbol. I'm going to imagine a bird maybe, because I feel a feeling of freedom when I do this. And I think I'm going to color it blue, because blue is a very free color for me. And you can do the same with the things you love to do on your own. And you can think of a symbol that represents them. And that energy, we're gonna see how it transforms into those symbols that we keep inside. And once we have these images ready, it can be any shape or color, anything you want. We are gonna be ready to put those images in the piece of paper that we ask you to bring. And you're gonna cherish them as little treasures and tools, wonderful tools that you have within yourselves. Whenever you need them, they're there. So when you feel ready, we can come back and open your eyes, go back to your bodies, to this reality. And now we're gonna start the other activity. We ask you to bring a piece of paper. I have mine here. And what I would love for you to do, if you want to, is to draw a circle on a piece of paper. So I have here my markers. I brought lots of colorful markers because I love markers. And I'm gonna draw a circle on my piece of paper. So it looks something like this. And now we're gonna...
Did you freehand that circle?
Yes.
It looks like a perfect circle.
A little messy here.
Wow.
It's the training. It's the training. So yeah, here is the circle. What I would love for you to do is to imagine the circle being your bodies, like what it feels like, the feeling we had when we were feeling our bodies, like that home, that membrane that contains all of the wonderful things we have inside. And inside the circle, we're going to draw the symbols that you visualized as being the things that you love to do when you're on your own, like a little first aid kit, you can say, for when you need them. So I visualized the bird and I'm going to draw it. And it was blue. You can draw whatever you want. Sometimes like in the book, I love imagining places, like sunny places, warm places. And it always makes me feel very good. So I'm gonna draw a sun, like in the book. I would love to know what you guys are drawing. You can share your drawings with a hashtag that we're gonna use in social media. That is sometimes all I need is me. We will share it so you can show us what you're drawing. I would love to see that. Um, I also love dancing. I think all Latins, all Latinos love dancing. We love that. Um, it's part of our culture. So I'm gonna draw. When I dance, I feel like a very kind of energy, like a vibrating energy. So I'm gonna draw some sort of lines that represent that feeling of moving my body. And as Erica said, I also love going in nature because nature has this wonderful healing power. So I'm gonna draw a tree, something very simple. We have a lot of markers, that's great.
I asked for some more because I got lots
Oh
of
gosh, I love
options.
that. That's wonderful.
I needed green for grass because I love to lay in the grass.
So beautiful. I also love the feeling of water. Like when you get in the ocean or river or even under the shower, it's very healing. I'm gonna draw water.
I especially like when the sun sparkles on the water
Yes.
and it's like little stars just glistening.
Yeah,
I could stare at that all day.
it's very magical.
Julie, what do you do? What do you recommend parents do if they're looking to engage their children in an activity like this, or teachers, and children are or grown-ups are feeling like they're too worried about what their picture is going to look like
Oh yeah, no.
to want to draw something?
Well, that's why I was maybe saying it can be a shape, it can just be a color. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just for you to have as a symbol for yourself. And there's no wrongdoing in this sort of activities. There's nothing wrong. That's the wonderful thing about expressing ourselves through art. I think anything goes. anything you want to go. It's just the act of releasing whatever you have inside and putting it in an art material. It's very healing. So you don't have to worry about making it beautiful. You don't have to show it if you don't want to. It's for yourself. It's just to, because I think when you see things visually, it's easier to remember. So when you're feeling maybe lonely or sad, and you remember the symbols that you have inside yourself, like a visual memory, it's going to be easier to use as tools of well-being.
I see in the chat that Elaine wrote smooth stones. I love smooth stones. I love finding rocks. We have, in the States, we have the most beautiful rocks in Maine, the state of Maine, along the coast. They're so glittery and soft and gorgeous.
That's wonderful. One of the things I love here in Colombia is that when we travel, the weather changes because of the altitude. So when we go from Colombia to other places that are more below, down below, near the seaside, you see everything changing, like wildly changing, and I love that. Even the smells, the flowers, the animals, the bugs, everything changes, and it's kind of magical because it's just a couple of hours away from where we are, and everything is so different. You can even get snow if you go up, so it's so beautiful, and I find that I constantly think about that to make me feel good. So how are we?
There's also some comments from Silvana about clouds and sun coming through the window, mountains, and Emilio says stars.
Yeah,
This time of year here in New York City, we have these beautiful sunsets. The whole sky turns pink.
I saw a picture you shared. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's like
Amazing.
this small window when it happens. It's really lovely. I'm adding it to my picture.
Yeah. So after we filled out the things we just visualized um, that we like doing on our own, we can also think of other stuff, other things that are outside ourselves, like where we depend on others to get help. Like in the book, A Hug from Grandma, or playing with Mateo, her friend, or maybe asking for help when you fall down. It is also very important to acknowledge that we do need other people sometimes to help us. And that is amazing because we have both of the spaces inside ourselves and outside. And when we think of the balance between the both of them, we're really backed up to face anything we need. And also, our internal tools can come outside and help others, like a membrane, and people can help us with their internal tools. And if we see this, like in the picture, we realize that it is abundant, and there's so much that we can turn to feel better. And it's very important to talk about it because sometimes I think with mental health, since it's sort of invisible, we don't really know what to do. It's not like my tummy's hurting and I go to the doctor. With mental health, we need to accept and acknowledge that we need that sort of help, and to talk about it and make it like a reality is very important. It's not something that we need to be ashamed of. It's something very natural. We all go through that, and it's important to have in mind that there are enough things in the world, in the universe, and within ourselves to help us. We just need to reach out or in.
So like calling a friend If you're
Yeah.
feeling blue, might be something that I
Yes,
put on the
absolutely.
outside of my circle.
Yes, absolutely. You can call a friend, or you can hang out with your dog. You can.
I'm totally
Dogs,
gonna draw Snickers.
dogs are amazing for that. You can also maybe go, I don't know, to a place where people are, I don't know, interacting or cooking or dancing or going to the movies with your sister or brother, or maybe even I love being with my friends that have babies. I love babies. They always make me feel so good. It's so, I mean, those kind of things always are very simple, but they can make us feel better. Or, for instance, asking for professional help is also very valid. There's so many professionals that know how to guide us and help us when we truly are feeling not well. Also, um, sharing what we write or going to a class, to a course, something like that also helps a lot. Finding new hobbies and people that share those hobbies.
Do you want to see Snickers?
I do.
Look
I
at
love stickers.
There's my friend.
Love that. She has a heart as a face.
Yes,
Love that.
she does.
Love that. That is wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, how's everyone doing? I would like to know I mean, what you do outside your body, when you turn to others, what is helpful for your mental health. I would love to know that as well. What sort of activities, or talking to a special person, or just hanging, just a hug, or you know, a sleepover with your friends, something like that. I have a family that is very close, and it's always wonderful to be with them.
I, you know, I don't know that these people know that they're helping me, but it's very moving for me and very helpful when I walk around the city and I come across people playing music. Or I
Yeah,
come across anybody who's creating something that
yeah,
I can stop to enjoy, whether it's street art or music or even just going to the theater. I feel so grateful for any sort of live performance where I can be a part of that energy. I find it very healing and soothing.
that is wonderful. It's just a little interaction with someone in a grocery store or can make your day. It's, we, we, we sometimes don't realize that the little things are so valuable.
I see sunset here in the chat. I think we maybe take for granted that Mother Earth
Yeah,
can be there for us, and that is
that
a
is true. That is true. Absolutely. Maybe the internal way of channeling Mother Earth will be visualizing Mother Earth, and then the external would be going to turning to Mother Earth, something like that.
Elaine says that she turns to comedy in her family a lot, watching funny movies, wordplay at dinner, working hard to make one another laugh.
Wow, laughing is so good.
So
So
healthy.
good. You always
Movie
have,
therapy, too. Movie therapy is
yes,
real.
yes, it is. You always have people that are very funny, that make you feel good instantly. Like my sister, she's so funny.
Yeah, I'm putting a TV, an old school TV here. Because how do you even depict new TVs? It's just a rectangle. What is that? How do you show a new TV?
Not even a square, rectangle. Yeah, something like that. So, how are we all doing? I would love to know what you guys think about this activity and the whole process and how you feel with this. And if it's helpful or if you have any suggestions.
While people write about their responses to the activity, I'll just tell you that Lala likes to go to the park and see the dogs happy playing with their owners and listen to their conversations with each other. She likes to sing aloud karaoke to songs on YouTube after dinner.
That's great.
It's nice to see you, Lala. And Trudy has three, like when she's got three cats napping on top of her as she tries to watch a movie in the evening. Animals are such a gift, right?
They are. They are. I love my dog to be all over me too.
Oh, me too.
It's so
Me
good.
too. I know. I even let her in my bed, which I know some people are really against, and I totally get it, and I shouldn't admit it in public like this, but I love it. You know, I just love her all over me.
Whenever I nap or go to sleep, I mean, like, I need her. It's just so good to sleep with her.
And Elaine loves karaoke too.
I'm not so good with karaoke. I am very shy.
I feel like I've heard you sing.
Yeah, but not in public.
But I feel like you once sang publicly. Did you not? Did you once? Yes. Did you once put out a song that you sang?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I listened to it and it was beautiful.
No, but I am very shy actually. I love these events because I only see you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I get like I blush a lot. But that's also something I need to work on with my internal tools.
You know, I'm just thinking about how this conversation between us and with the people in the chat chiming in about, you know, how we find joy and healing within ourselves and how we find it outside of ourselves. It feels so radical to take a half hour just to talk about this.
No,
And yet, is there anything more important?
that is so true. I mean, it's like we always leave these things last. And this is something we should do every day. That is very true.
Emilio says that you sing beautifully.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna blush again. So I don't know if we want to open a space for questions or
Yeah.
something.
So please, let us know in the chat, you know, what you thought about this activity, if it's something, you know, if you are doing it with children, what, you know, how it's working for them or how it's working for you. And then also, you know, we can take the last few minutes to ask Julie any questions that you might have about her as a bookmaker or her as a therapist or her as a mother, a woman. It's totally up to all of you. And I'm going to look back to see if I can find the question that came in earlier about your art process, so I can put that up to begin us off. Let's see. So if I can't find it, I sort of remember it, but here. So Maureen was interested in knowing how you work. Is it collage? Is it digital?
It is digital. but I love using textures so it looks a little bit like collage. I use my iPad and Procreate, and I select the shapes, and then with a textured brush, I fill it in with the colors, and it gives that appearance of being a cutout somehow.
A
It's a very,
textured brush that you use on the digital
yes,
pad.
it's all digital.
Do you have a variety of brushes?
I do. I do have a lot of brushes.
Do
Some
you have them next to you?
um, I can show you maybe. I have my iPad here. I have some great brushes. For instance, these ones. You can see this elephant. That is a Riso brush. So you just click here on the brushes and you have them here.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to show you how I selected. If you want to create a shape, for instance, you just um, I'm going to do just a little circle or something like that for you to see. So we're going to do a circle with the select tool like that. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. And then you take a brush and you select it and any color you want to use and you just fill it in and it gives this beautiful texture and it looks like a cutout. So it has that retro cutout feeling that I love to do. And you can play with a lot of textures as well.
Do you work wet ever? Like with pens and papers or markers?
Well,
Do
I
you work?
used to do that more, but now for practical reasons, I only use my iPad and digital because I have everything at hand and I can carry it anywhere. And it's so amazing that we have this tech that you just can recreate the same textures and stuff. So yeah, I used to work more um, with real materials, like not digital, but sometimes I do miss it, and I wish I had more time to just explore a little bit more because it has a different feeling as well, like the paper.
Do you bring your iPad outside of the house?
Yeah,
And do you ever work on your books outside of your
I
home?
do. I do. We go to a wonderful coffee place near here, and we drink coffee, and I work all day there, and it's great.
That reminds me that I did want to point out to everybody, and I'm just getting the link, that in the event page, we link to an indie bookstore in Brooklyn called Cafe Con Libros, which is a coffee and bookstore that is particularly which is particularly passionate about centering women and female bookmakers, and we linked to them to purchase the book. So if you would like to get Sometimes All I Need Is Me for yourself or for your friends, you can buy it anywhere. It is sold everywhere that books are sold, but you can also get it at Cafe Con Libros, which we thought was a beautiful opportunity to highlight this bookstore.
Yes.
And so I put it in the chat, but it's also on the event page, and I linked to both the English and the Spanish version on the event page. So
That's my dog now. She's now making her statement.
she's like, 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
6 minutes left.
Well, she behaved. I was
I
like,
know, so did Snickers, but you know, if Snickers hears her barking, Snickers will start barking, and then we're gonna have a bark off. So we have to. Lala, who is also an amazing author illustrator in her own right. Lala, thank you so much for being here. Says, thank you for sharing your lovely art and process, Julie. What is your process for your story writing? Do you draw with visuals and then write?
well, I do both. I love having journals, and in the journals, I have both drawings and written stuff. Sometimes an idea comes with the words, and I just sit down and I write something and then I draw it. Sometimes an illustration inspires the words. Um, yeah, I think it depends. It depends on what I'm into also. But it's a very simple process, I think. It comes very natural. It comes very natural to. I think because I've been doing that since I was a little kid. I've always written down my thoughts and also drawn them. So I guess
Julie,
it's
you're
not.
also a poet.
Well, I pretend to be.
We can get Matthew Burgess on here to define poet for us, but I'm pretty sure he would say that you write poetry,
Oh,
and therefore you are a poet.
oh,
But
that's an honor.
on your Instagram and on your website, you have a lot of beautiful poetry.
Oh,
Um, I find that for picture books, there's a process between moving from a poem to to a more narrative story.
yeah, that
Uh,
is true.
have you noticed that being a challenge for you or something that you've consciously had to work on?
Yeah, I think, and that's why I value Melanie so much, because this was initially sort of a poem, and then she was like, "But why don't we go deeper and let's see if we can go different directions and see the relationship between one thing and the other?" And I think it's great to have someone that can push you, and you as well, because you also helped in the process of writing this book. So I think it's very important to, yeah, I think maybe start going from a small idea to a more detailed one and see how that can turn into a story. That is true. It has been a beautiful learning process in that way.
Well, I do want to honor the time that you have given us today, Julie, and not go too far over. So, we are just about wrapping up on the hour mark.
Yeah.
Is there any last words that you could share with us about, you know, particularly for children who might hate to be alone, um, ways for parents or the adults in their lives to help support them in finding that joy
Yeah.
in that alone time?
Yeah. I think just first of all, acknowledge that feeling of loneliness, accept it, and love it as well. Because every emotion is important, every feeling is important. And when you accept it and just look at it as something natural that is part of you, I think you put the stress down, and it's just like love it, hug it. I mean, I thank you for being here and teaching me so much about myself. And then afterwards, you can start thinking, well, if this is happening, what other things can I do to make myself feel better? Do I have outsources or insources? And just try to connect to those opportunities and um, like abundance that there is in the universe. And don't give yourself a hard time for feeling all those feelings. That's the most important thing, I think, because everyone has the right to feel whatever they need to feel. It's part of a process. I mean, for instance, fear helped to protect us, and sadness help us to be more empathic with others. And um, those negative feelings that we call negative are not really negative. They're just feelings that we need in order to survive. Because we as beings are just trying to survive without the judgment.
Yeah, I think parents too often, when their own children have this fear of being alone, it brings up their own fear about their child's fear.
Yeah.
And it can create an environment where instead of taking a moment like you suggest and acknowledging and letting your child know that it's okay.
Yeah.
And I believe you, and it's okay
Yes.
that you feel that way, and people feel that way. I think too often parents, their own fear of the situation. My kid's never going to want to be alone in the room. They're never going to go put their pajamas on by themselves, you know, makes them skip that step because they're too in here. So, you know, as parents, remembering to pause ourselves
Yes.
and to check in with what we might be feeling in our own
Yes.
reaction. Is
And
really
also
important.
trust that your kids have the abilities. They do have them. I mean, they're amazing people. There's so much inside them that we don't know, and they're able to do whatever they want. It's just they need to have that space where they feel safe to feel whatever they need to feel and to be valid.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. This
Thank
was
you,
so
Yvonne. What a beautiful reading and beautiful music. Everybody, I'm sure, is giving a round of applause. What a gift to have that live music today. And what a gift, Julie, to have you here with us. So sometimes all I need is me. It's on sale. And you can purchase it anywhere that books are sold. And like I have said before, it is a children's book, but it is a wonderful reminder for people of all ages and all moments in their life. And I hope that if there's somebody special in your life who you think can benefit from it, that they'll have the opportunity to read it. And sadly, maybe they won't have the opportunity to hear you two read it unless you show them this video. We're going to have to clip the video when we put it up on YouTube. So there will only be a short portion of the reading. But like Ali says, sometimes all you need is a good book. Right.
That is so true. Thank you.
So everybody, thank you so much for being here tonight with us. Particularly during these times when there's so much happening in the world that can be difficult and emotional, to have an hour together to celebrate wonderful books and ourselves and each other, and to have a moment of calm like this really rejuvenates me, and I hope it does you too.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
Until next time, Julie, I'll ask for you to stay for a moment, but I'm going to say goodbye to everybody else. And again, if you would like to be able to keep in touch to see more events that we have, you can subscribe by pressing the button below that says subscribe, and you can give a thumbs up if you like this video. And you can also subscribe on the Samola Live website for our newsletter, samolalive.com. Okay, everybody, be well, and thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.